Greetings everyone, my name is Greg. In this video I am going to talk about the idea of a God and why anybody would believe in this and the idea of an afterlife type of thing, whatever the fuck that would be, and potentially meeting this God, basically being able to have a face-to-face with this God. Because I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he had said about basically the idea of arguing with a God, and I'm up for an argument or a discussion. And I said to him, the problem is the fucker's not talking. Because it's kind of hard to have an argument or a discussion when only one of you is talking. At some point, the other party has to fucking say something. Otherwise, it is a waste of goddamn time. I had said to the friend of mine, I would be willing to go on camera at any point and have this God just being there and being, here we go. And he was, why would it have to be, in a sense, on camera for others? And I was, why just do it for my benefit? Why have something like this happen just for me? Why not have it, if I'm going to be having some kind of conversation with a God, whatever the fuck that would be, why not open it up and let everyone else see it? To me, if such would exist, logically, it would have to want to be having such an interaction on as broad a scale as possible. The thing is, the problem is, we have nothing willing to do that. I had said I'd even go on camera without my fucking teeth in. I would be, in a sense, fuck it. Let's just do this. Let's not play games. Let's put all the cards on the table. Let everybody not only know that you exist, but why and what your agenda is, what you're all about. Because Christians want to say that, and they act like belief in a God is the main thing, and having faith in this idea. Why? Faith is not a pathway to truth. People can have faith in all kinds of shit. Doesn't mean what they're having faith in is true. Also, we can know for a fucking fact that Kim Jong-un exists. Does that mean you're going to go along with what he's all about, with his agenda, with his game plan? Just because you can know for a fact that he exists. Is his existence enough for you to be, oh, now I not only have to go along with what he says, I have to worship him because he exists? That's insane. But that is exactly how people are acting, Christians are acting, regarding a God. They want to act like if it exists, that's enough in and of itself, that you have to not only go along with its program, you have to worship it. But if we have no evidence that such exists, what we really have are people that are doing the chasing of their tail. Because the idea of prove there isn't a God. Prove you don't have invisible flying pink ass monkeys coming out of your ass right now. And to try and act like you're going to try and catch them, you'd be like the dog. Maybe that's what the dog's fucking chasing. We don't know. We don't know why a dog fucking does shit like that. The thing is, to try and say that a God exists, but you can't see it, you can't have anything to prove that it does, and you sure as fuck can't know what its agenda is, you're no different than the dog chasing your tail. In a sense, you look just as silly. The thing is, the idea of the old man God, that's a very old idea, and it goes along the lines of what in a sense, I had heard about when I was a kid. The heaven is basically sitting on a cloud playing a fucking harp. And it's one that never appealed to me even as a kid. But this idea of angels and some kind of heaven bullshit, why? What would be the point? Mere existing in an afterlife, having some kind of life. What is it about? What is the purpose of it? If the only purpose of that type of existence would be to kiss the ass of something like that, that's what I have to say. Fuck you. The idea that existence should be about catering to anything, even if, and there's the aspect, what if it's a woman? That would really throw into chaos all the Abrahamic religions and nearly all religions entirely, because they're so male driven, male focused. There's very few that actually focus on the feminine qualities, the feminine aspect. But the thing is, there are other options that people may not want to consider. What if it would be an alien? You don't know. What if you would die and find out that the God that's behind it all is a fucking alien? Because technically, the character of Jesus, that bullshit figure, had said, be in this world but not of it. Well, if you're not of this world, you're a fucking alien. Let's just put the cards right fucking on the table. If you're not of this world, you're a fucking alien. There's no other way about it. There's no dancing. It is what it is. The thing is, there is another version of God that would be more along the lines of what would be termed a fourth dimensional, whatnot, and all of this happy shit. The problem with that is we don't know what it's about, what its agenda is. And to try and act like, well, we have the Bible. That, in a sense, that immoral, unethical piece of dog shit. Yeah, we have it. I've read it. It refutes the idea of a scapegoat savior. But if there would be some kind of God type of thing, it sure as fuck wouldn't be going by that shit. Because let me just enlighten you guys. For the atheists out there, you probably have heard of Bart Ehrman. He's done some very good lectures. Very good. He's a professor and he's a historian. And he had pointed out, we have no originals when it comes to that piece of shit. He doesn't use my terming, but be that as it may. There's no originals. All we have are copies of copies of copies of copies of copies of copies of copies. And every single time you have someone making a copy, going letter by letter, they make mistakes. And we don't just have a copy of the copy. It's a copy of 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 a copy. On and on. And every time that a copy is made, mistakes are made. And the next person to copy it is copying the mistake and making mistakes of their own. To the point where you can honestly say, in that piece of shit, what is original? What was originally there and what was put in by people trying to fix a copy of a copy of a copy, that they come across it and they look at something and go, oh, this doesn't make sense. Well, we got to fix this. And then they fix it. But then their fix is very much another mistake. Even though they're trying to fix it, they have no way of knowing what was actually said. thousands of years or even hundreds of years before they got to it. So what they're doing is they're actually compiling on the mistakes with even more mistakes. The thing is, then you have people today trying to act like, well, it says this and this and this is what is written. So what? At the end of the day, yes, that's what's in the book now. But how do we know that that's what was actually originally there? How do we know this character of Jesus, assuming such existed, was even giving the message at all that is in the piece of shit that we have now? We don't. We have nothing to go by. So what it really comes down to, people that are trying to defend this stupid bullshit, what they're defending is their church, their own personal agenda. These people, the Christians, they want to have this horse shit of you have to make a choice or you're going to go to heaven or hell. As I pointed out in my last video, for one, it's not spiritual. There's nothing spiritual about that shit. Because when you get down to spiritual, that's the closest we may have to it, but even that is a physical representation of. We have no way of even putting into a framework of this is what it could represent, a representation of what it could be. Because everything we can grasp, everything we can understand is physical in nature. Because we are physical physical. We are just physical. That's what we are. There is nothing, the idea of there is the spirit within you. Prove it. Because the aspect, if you're going by that stupid fucking book that I had mentioned, that stupid shit, in the Hebrew, the word spirit is breath, ruach, wind. That doesn't give life. And the aspect of a soul, a breathing creature that is animal, I'm a breathing creature that is animal, and so are you. But that goes along the lines of a phrase I've heard, and it's been used in different songs, the aspect of not a soul around, or I haven't seen a soul. What is a soul? If it's not, basically from the way it is used. My girlfriend has used it where she works. I haven't seen a soul for hours. Really? Are you having ghosts coming into the store? Or is a soul a person? People. Let's be clear on what we mean. It is a phrase that is commonly used in our culture. We should know what soul means. Soul is a person. A breathing creature that is animal. That is us. That is this. It doesn't mean... People need to get their fucking head out of the fucking clouds. But even if a God would exist, and I would be face to face with this fucker, I would have a lot of anger. There would be a lot of questions that I would have. And let me just pull that down so I can, because it would be a matter of, one of my first questions to it would be, are you going to be torturing anybody? Are you going to be doing that shit? This idea of heaven and hell? Because the idea that people have to do and goose step as you want, or else you're going to do that stupid shit. I have problems with this. Even if I would be around this fucker. Because at some point, according to this Christian bullshit, I'm going to be getting a word in with this motherfucker. And short of going up to it and just kicking it in the fucking nads and being fucker, you're immoral. The thing is, the idea of torture, Christians love their torture. But let's be clear. Torture teaches nothing. Torture changes nothing. Torture proves nothing. The only thing you could say torture proves is that the one doing the torture is no better than those they're torturing. Even if it would be someone like a Kim Jong-un who's a total fucking dick. If a god would say, I'm going to torture him, I would look at him and go, so you're no fucking different. Fuck you both. It would be, I'm supposed to like you, even though I don't like that sumbitch? I don't fucking think so. Because if you're going to be behaving in the same manner, or actually worse than them, and you think I'm going to go along with your program? Fuck you. It don't work. I don't sell out that easy. I'm not immoral. Obviously Christians are. Obviously they don't care. They're more interested in trying to save their own sorry self-centered ass. They'll go along with anything so long as they think they're safe. That doesn't make you good. That makes you a sellout. That means you're willing to sell your humanity down the river in order for the fantasy that you're going to be fine. The thing is, you don't know that you're going to be fine. I would have a lot of aggression that would be coming out against a God. And let me see that fucker Jesus. Because I would be having serious issues with that fucker. I would be, number one, to try and say, in order to follow me, you have to sell everything you have and give it to the poor. What the fuck would that accomplish? Then, not only are you not really helping the poor because whatever you give them, if they didn't manage things right in the first place, they're not going to manage right what you give them. So you selling everything you have and giving it to the poor, fine, you help them for a brief bit. But then, they're poor, and so the fuck are you? What the fuck are you accomplishing? What this makes it out to be is the idea of, if you have money, you can't go to this heaven. Why? What the fuck's wrong with having money? What the fuck's wrong, especially if you work for it, if you earn it, what the fuck's wrong with that? The idea that it's some conspiracy, the New World Order, the upper 1%, ooh, it's jealousy, it's all about give me, me, me. It's selfishness, it's jealousy, it's driven by petty bullshit. People wanting for themselves and fuck everyone else. Because I guarantee you, these millennials and jackasses that want to act like it's the New World Order or it's the globalists or whatever the fuck. The idea that there's someone else trying to hold you down. Oh, it's the man. People want to have a boogeyman. Something else that they can blame for their problems, because then they don't have to look in the fucking mirror. They don't have to look at what is the real cause of the reason your life isn't the way you want it. It's not the color of your skin. It's not your gender. It's what are you doing? People might not like this. Some may not like hearing this, but the truth is not always nice and sweet to your ears. Sometimes truth hurts. And just because you want to try and act like this other person that has things that you don't. Well, they're horrible because look at all the things they have. So what? Maybe they earned it. Who's to say they don't deserve to have what they do? Because I goddamn guarantee, if you had all of that, you wouldn't be too quick to be, oh, I gotta give it up because I have too much. Because the truth of the matter is, those of us that are living in the United States, compared to the rest of the world, we are rich. Everything that we have the opportunity and the ability to get, especially compared to some of the underdeveloped countries, we're fucking rich. It changes things when you look at it from a totally different perspective. But the thing is, it can't be. If there would be a God or a Jesus or whatever the fuck, it can't be about how much money you have. It just can't. It also can't be about what thoughts you have, because the thoughts you have don't mean shit. The only way they matter is the thoughts you have will be a reflection of the ways you behave, the things you do. If you're one of these dumbass Christians that think torturing somebody is right just because they don't think like you, then you would be one to go along with somebody being tortured because they're gay or because they don't know what gender they're going to identify as this week. Even though I look at it and be, dude, get help. I don't care. It's not a matter, it's not up to me. I don't give a fuck. You can identify as a paperclip for all I care. I don't give a shit. The thing is, it can't be about the thoughts that we have, because that only matters in so much as that will determine how you behave, how you treat other people. So if it's not about your money, and it can't be about the thoughts we have, the fuck would it be about? Because we honestly don't know jack shit about what a God would want, what it would like, what it would dislike. We're guessing. And what makes matters worse, what really makes matters worse, is especially for those that want to go to the God notion, that stupid bullshit of there has to be a God because I don't know the answer to this question or that. The problem is, and especially when you have this God is holy and everything he says is right because he's God, then how do you know the God that you're going after and the one you're bowing to and the one you're bending over backwards to make excuses for isn't the devil? How do you know? When you have in your own mindset this good and evil dynamic, you have these two. You have two gods, for one. And you're trying to act like you have to worry about being deceived all the time. All right. How do you know you haven't been deceived? How do you know that what you're calling a God and what you're bending over backwards to justify and excuse isn't the devil? Isn't the evil one? Because if you go by the Bible and the shit that's in there and the shit that this God does and it openly admits to, how you could ever say that God is not evil, I don't get that. I don't understand how you could try and reach the conclusion that that being is not evil. Because everything about it looks evil to me. Looks evil as fucking hell. Because the idea, and I told the friend of mine this yesterday, of where Jesus said about don't take no thought for tomorrow type of thing. That is only good advice if you believe the world's coming to an end tomorrow. Because if it's not, if the world is not coming to an end tomorrow, the idea of take no thought for tomorrow means don't plan. Those who don't plan for the future are planning to fail. The message of Jesus is one of failure. It is one of, here's how you be basically a beggar on the street. Because you don't have a pot to piss in. Because you haven't planned. You haven't done anything to prepare or plan for the future. Because you're leaving it up to some pie in the sky bullshit. The thing is, how do you know the pie in the sky bullshit gives a fuck? You want to act like, oh, I have faith. What if it doesn't care? What if it looks at all this shit and goes, you know what? I don't care what they think. I don't care how much money they have. I don't really give a fuck what they do. I don't care. Especially if it's a god and it can do anything it fucking wants. Why the fuck would it give a damn about us? Why the hell would it care at all? It could look at it and be, yeah, they think after they die, I'm going to want them around me. Just looking at their lives, their Jerry Springer bullshit. Why the fuck would I want that around me? They're not much better than the monkeys that are sitting there drinking their own pee. So, in a sense, why? Anything that would be a god behind the fucking universe would have to be so much more evolved than us, that our stupid fucking behavior, that it would look at it probably no different than us looking at a monkey sniffing its ass and then falling off a log. And people to be, well, I have faith. You're an idiot. Because even if a God would exist, and I would be face to face with this, my first impulse would be to punch it in its fucking mouth. Just for being a fucking ass. Especially if it would try making it that what it would care about is what thoughts I have. Because the issue is not on me. It's not my problem if I don't believe in a proposition. If you want me to believe something, give me the evidence that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's true. Because I don't have to believe that my soda is real. I can see it. Not so much smell it, but I can taste it. I can feel it going down my throat. I know it exists. Why can't a God, a magical fucking being, make itself as known? Why? And if it can't, it's not all powerful. It either doesn't exist or doesn't care. Those are your options. For what we have, those are your only two options. Either the God doesn't exist or the God doesn't care. And if it doesn't care, why the fuck should I? And if it doesn't exist, I shouldn't fucking care because it doesn't exist. Either way, it doesn't matter. Until such time that whatever it would be would present evidence that it exists. Clear evidence. And the things that would be evidence for me could differ from what would be evidence for you or for somebody else. But whatever it would be, would know not only what evidence I would need, but what evidence you would need. And it should, if it's a God type of shit, and it would really give a fuck, it should be able to do exactly what it would take to convince you, me, and everyone else. If it doesn't do it, it clearly doesn't care enough. Because like I said, if I really cared that everyone in the world knew I existed, it would be up to me. I would make the effort to be, I'm going to prove to everyone in the world that I exist. Because for some fucking reason, they're believing that I exist matters. I don't know why it would, but apparently with this God or Jesus or whatever the fuck, or Muhammad or Allah, the thoughts that a evolved primate would have matter to it. But this whole notion, a part of me, even though I see it as a pie in the sky idea. A part of me really wishes a God would exist and that I would have some kind of life after I'm dead. Because my first impulse would be to hold back and kick it in the fucking nuts. Just as a hello. That would be my first impulse. In a sense, we could go from there into my dissecting and tearing apart its stupid fucking ideas. But feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Later, people.